Hello everybody, I am Brant Fowler, one of the co-founders of Last Ember Press, a brand new comic studio that is launching today. And this is a studio we've been working on, trying to get ready for debut for several months, and we've been keeping it really under wraps. And it's been hard because we've all wanted to talk about it. We're very excited about it, and it's been a dream of mine since I was a kid to produce my own comics and put them out there for the world to see, share my stories with the world. And it's been a long road, but a very rewarding one in the long run. Speaking of myself, I've been working in the comic industry in one way or another, probably for the past decade and a half, close to it. I've edited for companies. I've written short stories that have been published here and there. I've worked with different studios. I worked for a comic book distributor. I have run several websites. I currently co-own comicrelated.com, which is a comic news website, and I'm part of Comic Frontline, which is a YouTube review / discussion channel obviously on YouTube. And there's also comicfrontline.com, which I occasionally write for. And I have self-published my own book, Wannabes, a few years ago, and I hope to bring that back at some point through Last Ember Press. Most recently, though, I've been lettering for the past decade, over a decade now. I've got published credits through Image Comics, Action Lab Entertainment, Arcana Comics, Ronin Studios, various other independent companies and individuals, self-published stuff. And it's been very rewarding working on that kind of in that kind of realm of creating stuff. I did a really popular webcomic called Spy 16. You can find that on spy16.com, written by Tim Simmons with art by DJ Kiyowakani. I've lettered New Comic Day, which is at newcomicday.net, for 5 years. So I've got a lot of experience working in, with, and around comic books. But I've really, my passion has always been to create. And when I was a kid, 13, 14, 15, I was drawing and writing my own stories in sketch pads, which maybe I'll show in a future video or a blog post or something, just to show you where I've come from. And, it was always fun creating my own universes, my own characters. I'll be honest, I threw some Marvel characters in there just because I love Marvel. But the creation aspect of it was always at the core. And that's just what I fell in love with. I would draw all the time, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with my life. When I was in my late teens, I got out of comics for a few years, and I kind of dipped my toe back in a little by little, especially when the new G.I. Joe series came out from Devil's Due, because I'm a big fan. And the cross-gen stuff, I started hearing a lot of things about that, and that kind of pulled me back in. And, from that point on, I was like, I'd really gotten into writing in college, and that became my passion. I wanted to write. I wanted to create. But I fell into all this other stuff. I fell into lettering really because I wanted to letter my own stuff to save a little bit of money. And then, I kind of fell into this and into that, and just found myself working in comics. And, it's been a thrilling experience. I also flat on occasion. I've flatted stuff for Marvel, DC, Image, IDW, Boom Studios, various others. Archie Comics and so many others throughout the years as well. And it's fun working on those characters, but there's nothing like creating your own world and your own characters. And so when the idea for Last Ember Press came up, I couldn't say no. It was kind of funny because Lisa and I, she's one of the other co-founders, Lisa Moore, colorist extraordinaire. She and I have been working together for years. She's my roommate now, and we're really good friends. And she came to me one day and said, we're both really happy, doing coloring and lettering, working in comics, but this is, we have dreams and aspirations far beyond this, and we want to put out our own stuff. And she said, why don't we just start a new studio? Because both of us had done this or that, trying to get our stuff out there, going through different publishers and things like that, self-publishing route and all this stuff. And we just decided, okay, you know what, that's great, let's do it. So then we started brainstorming, and we were like, we have stuff, but we had this friend, John Wilson, who, co-owns Comic Related with me, co-hosts my podcast, zone4podcast.com. And he has all these stories, and he's gone through the same similar pitfalls that we have over the years, just setback after setback. And we were like, John, why don't you come on board? We'll put out your titles through Last Ember Press as well. And then he started contributing. He started contributing ideas for a name, for story ideas, and for slogans and things like that. And it kind of gelled between the three of us. We just said, okay, the three of us are now founders of Last Ember Press. And it was just, it just was the right time. It was the right way to happen. It just came together naturally. So John and I, John has a couple of books coming out, but one of the books that John has, it's actually an anthology we're putting out, and one of the stories John and I kind of co-created called Tin Town. And basically, if you've seen the 1980s sitcom Small Wonder, reverse that. It's basically a robot family that takes in a human baby that was left on their doorstep and tries to pass it off as a robot. And Tin Town is a small suburb of a larger city, kind of like a little Italy, where all the robots live. So it's just, hilarity ensues from that. It's an interesting concept. But even though that was cool, Lisa has her fairy stories. John had his 2 books, and I was like, I really want something to contribute to our initial offerings, since I'm one of the founders and everything. And as I was designing the logo, I showed it to Lisa, and it's funny, the character of Ember, which has become the icon or the avatar for our company, kind of revealed herself to us through the logo, which I didn't even see when I was designing it. I didn't even know it was there until she pointed it out. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And it was just like it was meant to be. So thus Ember was born, and John and I started batting around ideas, and he had this concept of icons that were steeped in mythology and that kind of thing. And it just kind of clicked, and I was like, okay, let's tie this in together. And thus the Emberverse was born. So now we have our own universe. Not all our stuff takes place in the Emberverse, but there will be stuff as we continue, as we progress. And that's always been a dream of mine, to do something like that. So Ember is basically your average teenage girl, typical problems that a teenager suffers, but then one day something happens where she is in danger or threatened, and these abilities manifest from her, engulfing her in a non-consuming flame, and she has to figure out why this is happening to her, and discover that there is a history, that she comes from a long line of people that had these abilities, and she is the last of her kind, and what that means and what that entails in this new world that she has found herself in. And that is going to be the main character of our company. There will be a 16-page preview book, if everything falls in place, at Derby City Comic Con, our basically coming out launch party, June 20th and 21st in Louisville, Kentucky. So that's basically my background and what my upcoming contributions are for Last Ember Press in this first wave. I'll write a little bit more in the post below, and of course more videos and more content will be coming from all of us. So stay tuned to lastemberpress.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and all that good stuff, so you can get all the updates for Last Ember Press. So thank you so much for checking us out. I hope you check out the books when they are available, and if you have any questions, comments, leave them below, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.